Welcome to the Lion's Share, the podcast where family, faith, football, finance, and fun come together. Join Mitch Lyons, former NFL player turned financial pro, as he shares insights and stories from his unique journey. From navigating the financial playbook to celebrating life's touchdowns, this podcast is all about living a balanced and fulfilling life. So buckle up your chin strap, say your prayers, and let's dive into the game plan for a prosperous future both on and off the field.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Lion's Share, where we talk family, faith, football, finance, and fun. I'm Mitch Lyons, and I'm excited to do this episode in our series of coaching leadership lessons from the NFL. The past episodes we've talked about Jerry Glanville, June Jones. The gentleman I'd like to talk about today is a Hall of Fame coach from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Bill Cowher. I had the pleasure of playing for 3 seasons in Pittsburgh under Bill's tutelage from 1997 to 99, and really enjoyed my time in Pittsburgh. It was awesome. And when you talk about Bill Cowher, I think you got to go one level higher and really just talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers from a higher level in terms of ownership. The Rooney family has been fantastic. Talk about consistency. They've had 3 coaches since 1969, which is just unheard of in today's sports realm. I mean, no one even comes close to that. And going back to 1969 with Chuck Noll, and then Bill was hired in, I think, 92. And then obviously Mike Tomlin's been there for a long time since Bill retired after winning the Super Bowl. And but let's go back to that. I was in Atlanta for 4 years. June Jones gets fired after my 4th year. Dan Reeves comes in from the New York Giants, brings a lot of the tight ends from there with him. So I was kind of on the outside looking in there. So I started kind of the free agent period, and I didn't have a lot of people knocking on my door. I'd spent for 4 years in Atlanta in a run and shoot offense primarily. Didn't have a lot of time on the field, and was just trying to get my foot in the door with another team. And Pittsburgh was cool enough to have me come in for a workout. I worked out for Mike Mularkey, who would later go on to coach 3 different NFL teams, but he was the tight end coach at Pittsburgh. Loved Mike. I'll share more about Mike on another episode. But brought me in, worked me out. He liked what he had seen from what he had seen on film, so ended up signing there. And Pittsburgh was just fantastic. Coach Cowher was very cool right from the beginning. Because at the time when I signed with him, I think I signed early April in 1997. My son Trent was ultimately born May 10th, but we knew in advance that he had some in utero congenital heart defect issues that we had to deal with. And Pittsburgh was so welcoming and understanding in terms of allowing me the time, because we had to go to Cleveland Clinic for a good chunk of time, and on a couple different occasions, not only when he was first born, but then later in the fall, we had a bye week, our 3rd week, and we had kind of scheduled a second surgery that needed to be done around that time. And so the Rooney family, Coach Cowher specifically, was just really cool about accommodating that and making me feel welcome, and they were just so understanding. And because it's a high-stress job, obviously. I mean, I certainly didn't have a guarantee I was making that team, and to have all that going on off the field, it was nice that they were there to support me. So I'll always be grateful to Bill for that and the whole organization. But when you talk about Bill Cowher, I mean, this guy was just a different breed. I mean, I loved playing for Bill because, like June Jones, he had played the game. He'd played in the NFL, played linebacker and special teams for quite a few years. And so he kind of gets it, right? I mean, he understands what you're going through as a player, which is important, I think, as a coach, to be able to relate to a player and really fully understand, how it feels when you're 4 weeks into training camp and your legs are shot and you're sore, or you're getting banged up during the course of the season, and maybe you need a break, maybe you don't need to bang heads every day. So he was good that way. But probably the biggest takeaway I got from Bill was, he preached on this a lot, but he always said it's a mindset. It's a mindset, guys. Hey, the NFL season's long. You just got to hang in there. You got to have the mindset that you're going to take this thing day by day. And, I think back to that, and I repeat that to my team at Mitch Lyons Wealth all the time about, hey, not everything's going to go your way every single day, right? You just got to keep plodding forward, and, don't lose sight of the process. Don't get caught up in the results and lose sight of the process, because it is a process. Life's a process. Jobs are a process. Any goal you're going for, it's a process to get to the result. And hear so many times about and you really need to fall in love with the process, because you hear so many times about people ultimately achieving their goal, whether it's a Super Bowl or, making it up the corporate ladder to what you've always aspired to. Then you get there and it's like, geez, it wasn't as great as you maybe had envisioned it. But what was great was the process of getting there. So he was always big on creating, the idea that, hey, have the mindset and attack this thing day by day. Don't worry about 16 games. Let's worry about this practice or this rep and this play. And let's get better each play and just have that mindset every day. Another one that sticks out to me that Bill always said, and it was so true, is the toughest man in the world is a coward when he's tired. And he was talking about, conditioning, about, hey, you may not be as good as the guy is across from you, but if you can wear him down over the course of the game, he might be kicking your butt a few times in the first and second and third quarters, but by the fourth quarter, if you're in better condition than him, you're going to wear him down and ultimately win that battle, or have a better chance of winning that battle anyway. So he was big on conditioning, which, is important, but that can be, applicable to really any job, whether it's just product knowledge, in the retirement landscape, which we are with Mitch Lyons Wealth, my company, staying up to speed on new trends, new opportunities, new strategies available, and just wearing out your competition because you just work harder and your mind is better conditioned. So I use that a lot as well, but. The other thing, it was kind of a funny story. I remember when I first got to Pittsburgh. Again, there was 4 tight ends going for 3 spots, and I knew I had a decent shot, but again, was not guaranteed. And my old Michigan State quarterback, Jim Miller, was actually on the Steelers roster that preseason. He'd been there a few years prior to that, and ultimately got released in '97. But he was scrambling, trying to make a team as well, and he. I had pulled a groin muscle and strained it in practice in Latrobe at training camp, and I was out a few days. And this was it was like a Saturday night practice, and I think we had a preseason game maybe the next Thursday or Friday. And I'd missed a few days of practice, and I remember walking back in those days. The Steelers had a little 50, 60-yard grass field just down the road from Three River Stadium that we'd go and practice on occasionally. So we're walking back from that practice, and I, again, missed a few practices, and the game's coming up. And Bill, he's walking alongside me. Bill Cowher says, he goes, Mitch, how you feeling? And I said, it's just not there, Coach. I don't trust it, to really come out of a break and trust it that it's not just going to go again. And he goes, okay, well, I really need to see you play tomorrow night, or whatever night it was, maybe a couple days from then, because I really need to see you play. And I go, yeah, I really want to. And he goes, no, I really need to see it. He goes, listen, there's a difference between being hurt and being injured. And his point to that was everybody in the NFL's hurt, right? Everybody's got their aches and pains, especially as you go through the season longer. Everybody's dealing with something. There's nobody that's getting up out of bed and feeling great like they did maybe back in April or May, right? So his point was, hey, I need you out there. I need to see you on that field. It's between you and another guy for the spot, and I need to see you. I got to have you on film. I got to see you prove it. So I go out and dress for that game, and sure enough, the first play I'm in, Miller calls a play. I got to run a seam route, which is, for those of you who don't know, the kind of basically just a deep pattern, a go route down the hash marks, and not that I was ever a speed demon, but he throws it to me, and he overthrows it a tad, and I have to really reach and I'm not able to pull in the pass, but dive for it, and immediately just boink, there goes the groin muscle again, right? And I'm limping back over to the sideline, and I know I've got to finish. I've got to finish that game. I play it off as best I can, but just one of those things, Bill. You need to know you could play through the pain and the hurt. If you're not injured meaning, hey, you can't run, can't put weight on something. But so I toughed it out. Ultimately made the team, but that's just kind of how Bill rolled. I mean, he understood where you're coming from, but he was tough, but he was fair. He'd say that. I'm going to treat you all fairly, maybe not equally, but I'm going to treat you all fairly. But he, as tough as he came across, I know a lot of folks see him with his jaw jutting out and think he must just be a hard ass all the time. He wasn't like that, off the field or during practice. Very, very rarely. I mean, occasionally he'd blow up if he felt like we needed it, but he was pretty cool, really all the time. And what you saw on the sideline during games was maybe a little different than what you saw from Bill on a day-to-day basis. But loved my time there. And hey, it's really super cool that he has been elected to the Hall of Fame, which is really neat. I got a number of former teammates and whatnot. Dermontti Dawson, Pittsburgh Steel, that's been voted in the Hall of Fame. Obviously Jerome Bettis, guys I played with, which is just pretty neat to see them because very small role in their career, but it's still cool to be associated with them and have that. And I feel the same way about Bill. I mean, that 3 years, very special time. I would have loved to play my whole career in Pittsburgh. The knees did not like Pittsburgh as much as I did. Tore my ACL in '97 on my right knee, and then the career ender out in Kansas City in '99, where the blew my knee out on a kickoff return. But played a ton of games in Kansas City. Just going back to Bill, his mentor throughout his coaching career was Marty Schottenheimer. I think he got his first break in the NFL coaching on Marty's Cleveland Browns teams. And he always held Marty in a really high regard. We'd play a lot of games. Felt like we were out there every year with Pittsburgh, be it a preseason game or a regular season game. I think I played probably four times out in Kansas City during my 3 years in Pittsburgh. So that was always a special place, and I know Bill. He, especially in the preseason games, he'd go out and have dinner with them, the night before or whatnot with Marty. He held him in high regard, and so. But Bill Cowher, great dude. Really, just again, love my time at Pittsburgh, and again, it stems from ownership down. So for you business owners out there, I mean, the Rooneys are a great owner, a great business owner to emulate, as far as just being, kind, being consistent. Not overreacting. I think you see that so many times in sports, right? A coach has a bad season, and boom, they're out the door, and they're bringing in the best new shiny object that they see out there. And it wasn't always that way in Pittsburgh, right? Chuck Noll, he had a rough start to the beginning of his career, and obviously went on to win 4 Super Bowls. But and then towards the end, he wasn't as good. But they didn't just up and give him the heave ho because he had some losing seasons. And same thing with Bill. I mean, I think they were patient with Bill. He took over in '92, I believe, and kind of built that up and got him to the Super Bowl in '95, and obviously won it later on in his career. I think it was 2004, I believe. But great dude, loved my time there, and gained a lot of insight from Bill that I use every single day in my career. And that's what is awesome about sports and about playing for coaches is, I still find myself saying the things or thinking the things that I heard for all those years, whether it was George Perlis at Michigan State or Dave Succo back in high school. I still am using those same lines, and I'm using them on my team because they're timeless and they're still impactful, and they mean something, right? Plan your work your plan. Have a mindset. It's all the mindset, process, not results. All that same stuff I think about every single day. So I give thanks to my coaches for that, and that's why I'm doing this series. So if you enjoyed this episode, feel free to check out my previous ones if you haven't on June Jones, Jerry Glanville. Hey, and please subscribe to our channel. Like this episode if you would, and tell folks about us. And again, you can go to Mitch Lyons Wealth to follow me on any of our social media platforms. But until next time, this is Mitch Lyons with the Lion's Share.
Thank you for joining another episode of The Lion's Share. We hope you found value in our discussions on family, faith, football, finance, and fun. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review if you enjoyed the show. Connect with Mitch on all social media platforms at MitchLyonsWealth.com. Until next time, remember to protect your wealth, cherish your loved ones, and live life to the fullest.